put the NDP fairy tales to bed, because like all fairy tales, they're dangerous in the real world. I've gone through the polls for all 338 ridings in Canada, every last one of them. The NDP can bank on 16 seats. These are safe seats. The MPs in them don't even really need to campaign. They're not going anywhere. You can add to that 5 more seats that they are likely to get, meaning unless Jagmeet repeats more of his appreciation for the presidency of Donald Trump, the likely seats will end up also being NDP. And currently, the NDP are leading in another 2 seats, which, presuming they don't blow it, means the NDP should be able to count on getting at least 23 seats in this election. There are also 9 more seats that are leaning toward the NDP. So if the party stays on message and continues without errors, voters in those ridings will probably bring the NDP total to 32 seats in the next parliament. 10 more seats are toss-ups. If the NDP can convince 5 of those they're a better option than Justin, then they'll have 37 seats. And if they can convince the other 5 that the NDP is a better option than Aaron Otoole and the Conservatives in the final days of the election, they could swing those seats over to the NDP as well, and that would give them 42 seats in the next parliament. There are 24 more seats where the NDP is in second place, and while it's not impossible that they could get some of those, it's unlikely they'd get all of them. In fact, Liberal support would effectively have to collapse worse than it did with Michael Ignatieff in 2010 for any of that to happen. But playing devil's advocate, if it did, if enough Liberals either switched to the NDP or didn't vote in those ridings, then it's theoretically possible Jagmeet could end this election with a best case scenario of 66 seats maximum in the next parliament. That would make the NDP a solid third place party in the House of Commons, which it is not now. But here's the clincher. With 25 days to go before the election, the NDP is not even viable in 224 of the 338 seats in Canada. Those seats are definitely going Liberal or Conservative or Bloc Québécois. The NDP is not even a contender in any of them. And with only 114 seats theoretically in play, which is the best case scenario maximum they could ever hope to get, there is a 0 chance Jagmeet will become leader of the opposition, and an even lower chance he'll form a government after this election. Jagmeet Singh is not as popular as Ed Broadbent. He's not as respected as Jack Layton was. Jagmeet has blown so much credibility with centrist voters, spouting off his misinformation about federal provincial responsibilities and his laughable TikTok videos.
You know I'm your type, right?
There's a better chance he'll win the Daily Grand Lottery before September 20th than he'll ever even become leader of the official opposition. And even if both the Liberal and Conservative parties literally collapsed before Election Day, Jagmeet wouldn't even come close to forming a minority government. It's just not possible in this election. And the thing is, the NDP knows it. You can tell from their promises, from the ridiculous statements suggesting the federal government can arbitrarily impose health standards on the provinces, federalizing long-term care facilities without a constitutional reform that no province would agree to the showboat photo ops on Indigenous land, where he claims nothing has been done about water advisories on those reservations, despite the easily confirmed fact that 109 of the 159 water advisories have been lifted since November 2015 when Justin became Prime Minister. The NDP can make these statements and a million other empty promises for one simple reason. They know they'll never have to deliver. I'm surprised they haven't promised all the millennial voters they're trying to co-opt ponies, new iPhones, or unicorns. And before you believe their claim they've been fighting for you, go check their voting record during this pandemic. The reason you won't see most of their names on many of the most important votes in the last session is because they didn't have the courage to help Conservatives defeat the government or the conviction to support the government. Instead, they abstained from supporting most of the programs that have got Canadians this far in the pandemic. So if you wonder why Justin called this election in the first place, I suspect it's because he's had enough of their stunts and lies. Question is, have you? On this day in 1885, Gottlieb Daimler patented the world's first internal combustion motorcycle, the reitwagon. Once they got it up to speed, they renamed it the reitwagon. It's also More Herbs, Less Salt Day, Pottery's Bottle Oven Day, Individual Rights Day, Pony Express Day, Chop Suey Day, and Lemon Juice Day. Blech. And that's today's Duza Bear Digest. See you tomorrow.